And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It is brought to you by the Fanatic Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. That's where we are today and every Monday. Got a full bar there, Peachy. What do you think?
Hey, college hoops already started.
Think that's what they're all watching?
No. Nope.
All right, we're live at the Fanatic Sportsbook. It is Football at 4. A lot going on in Eagle Land, even after the bye. Let's get down to business right now. Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com, joins me right now as we take a look at everything Eagles as they get ready to head back into game mode. They'll play the Packers on Monday Night Football right here on 97.3 ESPN next Monday. But, Moshe, we woke up this morning to a trade. I'm sure you and I, we were already awake, but some people out there, they woke up and saw the Eagles had already made some moves. Let's start with the move they made today. Jalen Phillips for a third-round pick. Moshe, initial reaction is?
Say that again, Mike. I'm sorry.
Initial reaction to Jalen Phillips for a third-round pick is?
Good move. Really good move. Adds in an area that, they've been trying to upgrade since the start of, since the offseason, since camp, since losing Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. I think that this will have a widespread impact on the defense as long as Jalen Phillips can stay healthy and is as impactful of a pass rusher as he can be. I'm not going to hold the Miami stats against him this year and even last because he's on such a lousy defense and probably gets double-teamed a lot. He will not get double-teamed on the Philadelphia Eagles front. You got Jalen Carter, you got Moro Ojomo, you got Nolan Smith who will come back. So he'll reap the benefits of one-on-ones, and he's been a very good pass rusher when he's had those opportunities. But, obviously his health is his biggest issue. He's dealt with the Achilles injury, the ACL injury, the injuries going back to college, the moped accident that he had, the wrist injury, the concussions. He retired from college football at one point before coming back. So as long as he's healthy and then he gives them what I think, Mike, is a widespread impact because I believe it'll let Vic Fangio go back to leaning heavier on a four-man rush. And I wrote about that on Philly Voice today on why that's so important because clearly Howie has not been able to do much at the outside cornerback spot opposite Mitchell other than a dart throw at Jair Alexander and then, bolstering the slot position with Michael Carter, too, in case they need to move Cooper DeJean outside. But without doing much there, I think Vic would like to play a lot more zone. He's played so much more man coverage this year because he's blitzed more this year. And I think Vic would love to be the guy who in the Super Bowl never had to dial up a single blitz because his front four got home all the time.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about how he fits in because you got Nolan Smith coming back, you got Jalix Hunt, you got Josh Uche, Brandon Graham. That's really five guys there. Does Jalen Phillips go to the top of the Eagles pass rush list?
Well, Vic likes a three-man rotation, okay? And it doesn't matter who plays the most snaps. But, Jalen Phillips and Nolan Smith, when he gets back, are your sort of top two guys. And Jalix Hunt will get in there. He's starting to play better as well. And the snaps might differ a little bit here and there from game to game, but those will be your big three. Now, he may adjust a little bit and figure out a way to get Uche and Brandon Graham on the field when he can, sort of like your backup pass rush line, which he has had before. But I don't, at this point, as long as Smith, Hunt, and Phillips are healthy, I don't think you're going to see a ton of Uche and Brandon Graham unless those top three guys, for whatever reason, aren't getting the job done.
Right. So, you look at what Jalen Phillips brings. You just talked about it. He's not going to get double-teamed a lot. You would wonder if Vic Fangio knows that he can do some things with him. Has he ever played next to a guy in the league of Jalen Carter? Like when those early Miami teams that Vic played for, I know right now that they don't have anything close to Jalen Carter, but if he's getting one-on-one opportunities, I guess my question is, does this take this Eagles defense to another level?
I didn't go back and look, but I'm pretty sure that when he had 6.5 sacks in 8 games 2 years ago with Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator in Miami, I think that was Christian Wilkins' last year in Miami. I'll go back and check. But he has played next to a pretty formidable interior defensive linemen. So not now. Again, Jalen Carter is a very, very good. But yeah, Miami was 2023. That was Christian Wilkins' last year, and Wilkins himself had 9 sacks. So you can see how that guy ate up double teams and allowed Jalen Phillips to have a good year. So you can see a similar effect here in Philadelphia. Jalen Carter gets double teamed a lot. And even though Jalen Carter has not had the type of year this year that he did last year, he's still someone that the offenses have to worry about and have to double team.
I have a feeling, right, the second half of this year, you might see a better version of Jalen Carter, which might mean that you might get a interesting pass rush here if he can stay healthy. That's been the big problem with him.
That's what the Eagles are banking on, Mike. I mean, there's no doubt that there's no huge splash move here like Myles Garrett or Hendrickson because they what they think are the pieces.
So I was going to ask, is this a big enough move? Did you think bigger, or is this about where you thought they would end up with?
I mean, this is where I thought they would. I did not think the Myles Garrett rumor was realistic. I'm not saying they didn't call and check in. I think there might have been, as great as Myles Garrett is, and you find a place and make it work. Jalen Phillips is a little bit more of an ideal fit just because he's played in this defense before. He can rush, and I imagine he dropped an overhang player or an outside linebacker for Vic Fangio, whereas I'm not quite sure Myles Garrett, playing under Jim Schwartz last few years, he's a hand in the dirt, go get the quarterback guy. Same thing with Trey Hendrickson. I don't think those guys just come in and adjust to Vic's defense the way Phillips will. Now, Garrett, you don't really, you just say, fine, I'm not dropping you. You're just that great. I'll figure it out. And I'm sure Vic would have figured it out. I don't want to make it sound like Garrett's a bad fit. I'm just saying Jalen has played in the scheme, so he made the most sense as far as reasonable, realistic targets out there where you're not giving up on, all these first-round picks and paying all this money out.
Talking with Geoff Mosher, Football at 4 from the Inside the Birds podcast. The big trade this morning, Jalen Phillips. So now you've got Jalen Phillips. You've got Nolan Smith when he returns. What happens with Jalex Hunt here?
Yeah, I mean, Jalex Hunt has been coming on as of late. He's a good run defender. I don't think his snap share is going to decrease exponentially. I think it's going to be a sort of a 33% split when it's all is said and done between those top 3 guys, again, as long as they're all healthy and productive. But also, Jalen Phillips, with his injury history, you can understand if he doesn't play as many snaps. If they're able to get some leads and they don't need him out there rushing the passer all the time, they may get Jalex Hunt on the field more in those situations just to keep some wear and tear off of Phillips.
All right, let's get your thoughts. You mentioned before. By the way, you rudely did not answer my text on Saturday.
Oh, you know what? I was working all day.
Now, if you were doing something that was like an emergency, you'll make me feel bad. But I was in Philly. I'm driving over the bridge. I said, you know what? I'm going to be driving right through Moshe's area. Let me give my buddy a text message. And I got
the
crickets.
Heisman, huh?
I got crickets.
It's my bad. I was also pulling double duty. So I was working, and the Eagles were obviously making moves that day with Jair.
Well,
and then my daughter at a football tournament.
They had not made the trade yet. You know when it happened? I actually stopped at 8 and Sands Brewery on my way home. Okay? If you know where that is, like in Woodbury. So I stopped there, and as I was sitting down, I got a text message. And it said the Eagles have traded for Jair Alexander. And I said, maybe Moshe is a little busy with that. So now I can get your reaction here instead of asking you right next to me with a nice cold beer.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I don't get it, to be honest with you. I get it because it costs them nothing, but I don't get it because why? I mean, what are you expecting to get from Jair Alexander at this stage of his career when 2 teams have already said no thank you to him? One team, I think I heard you mention this, I mean, the Ravens have been terrible on defense, and they decided no thanks either. And, they wanted him, Mike, because they wanted to be able to play him outside, opposite Nate Wiggins, their second-year corner, who they drafted in the first round. And then that would be able to let them play Marlon Humphrey in the slot and then keep Kyle Williams at safety. Kyle Williams is a really good slot. Oh, they have kind of an embarrassment of riches there, but they can't. They couldn't play him. They didn't. He had the knee surgery. It didn't work out for him. So Humphrey's going to play outside. Wiggins going to play outside. Williams will play the slot, which is, I think, what they did last game. And Jair became an untenable 53-man roster spot for them. And with the Eagles already having a logjam of Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo and trying to get Ja'Cory Bennett on the field, I get it because it's a dart throw, but I mean,
well, it's
I
like
feel like any
move
you
you
should make could make your team better.
Yeah, do you make a trade for a guy that you then end up cutting?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, someone's going to have to go because they're bringing him in. Is it him?
That's my
Maybe.
point, though, is like, exactly, like, do you trade for a guy and then cut somebody else, or do you just say, we traded for you for a 6th-round pick, and we're just going to cut you? I mean, because I kind of agree with you. It's worth the flyer, and I've heard the whole Christian Parker worked with him in Green Bay, maybe he feels like, but I don't know. Are you of the opinion that you're just better with Keely Ringo there, keeping what you have? Or do you look at, no, you play Jair Alexander and keep Cooper in the slot? Or, like, you got Jair Alexander and Cooper, Michael Carter. Do those two guys factor into this defense at all?
I would think Michael Carter, younger, potentially healthier, would factor into the defense. Because at least even if he's not playing, if you're keeping Cooper in the slot, you can use Michael Carter as a dime. You can play a lot more either big nickel or dime because Carter was a safety at Duke. I mean, he's kind of a hybrid safety nickel anyway, right? So whatever you want to call it, big nickel, dime, you can play either or package, which will come in handy against some of the teams you're about to, or the spread out passing offenses you're about to play. Packers, although they took a hit with Kraft, they still can, and they took a hit with Golden too. They can ordinarily spread you out. Obviously, the Lions can. The Cowboys absolutely can. And the Chargers absolutely can. And then when you get into the playoffs, you're going to face teams like the Rams maybe again, or the Bucs, who have, multiple options at wide receiver / flex tight end that you could use an effective dime package against.
Well, I'll tell you. So they end up getting 2 corners and an edge guy here. And obviously, Jalen Phillips, you would hope, makes a big impact. I seem to agree with you. I don't know that Jair Alexander has much left in the tank, which is sad because he's only like 28 years old.
Yeah.
But do you agree that you think that Keely Ringo is probably a better option than him?
I think I've heard everybody saying that today, and I keep saying, hold on a second. They traded a 4th-round pick for Ja'Cory Bennett for a reason. He's been on IR. Got to get him. I think he was in the practice window before the bye week. That, to me, is the key to what happens next. I got to imagine they're going to get a chance to take a look at Ja'Cory Bennett as soon as they feel like he's ready to go. Okay,
I agree with you there.
Yeah,
I've been a big fan of giving Bennett the opportunity and see if he changes anything here. Yeah,
and I think if Bennett works out, then that's a best case scenario, and you can keep Cooper DeJean in the slot, and you can use depth with Michael Carter. But if Bennett doesn't work out, I don't know that the answer is going back to Keely Ringo. I don't think there's fact finding here with Keely Ringo. I think Vic Fangio has pretty much said he just needs to play more football, which is Vic Fangio speak of saying, I don't want that much more football for me, but he's far behind, right? Yeah. And remember, he had the job, then lost it. He was the 4th corner coming out of camp behind Adoree Jackson and Ja'Cory Bennett and Quinyon Mitchell. So I don't think he's the answer at all.
What happens to Jahad Campbell now you made a trade for an edge rusher, right? So is he a backup linebacker to Nakobe Dean? Do they split time? It would seem his edge rushing snaps are now gone.
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know what they're going to do. Clearly they like having Nakobe Dean's leadership on the field, and I think it does make a difference as far as getting the defense set correctly. It takes eases the pressure on the rest of the guys, especially the signal caller guys on the defense, to have to align everyone. So there's a clear benefit in that regard to Nakobe Dean being on the field. But you lose a lot of athleticism. You just lose a freak of nature who was playing well. So I don't think his snaps are just going to totally go away and vanish, and he becomes kind of this spare part. But I do think Nakobe Dean's going to continue to see a decent number of reps at the off-ball linebacker spot.
Yeah, I know, moving forward here, that's going to be a storyline. I would assume the first game, if he's not out there a whole heck of a lot, hey, what's going on with Jahad Campbell? But it's like it's a weird spot because it's not like Dean is playing poorly, right? It's not like you put him back out there, hey, he was the guy, you don't lose your job, and he's gone out there and not performed. He's gone back and just performed. Like, it's not like so. But Campbell, you can make an argument that performed just as well, if not slightly better than Nakobe. Who's got a bigger ceiling? I don't know.
Well,
Probably Campbell.
Campbell has the way bigger ceiling because he's a freak of nature athlete, and he's already played well in year one. Like, think about what you thought about Quinyon Mitchell last year, playing that well in year one, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with Cooper DeJean. So the sky's the limit for the kid. But you're trying to win a Super Bowl. You're trying to keep your defense really intact, and obviously Nakobe Dean is really, really good at getting everybody on the same page, aligned, keying and diagnosing, and that matters. And so, I think, you'll probably, again, you'll see him split, you'll see him figure it out, but it does feel like they need that element from Nakobe Dean.
All right, you wrote an article over at phillyvoice.com about the self-scouting. This is what you generally do during the off week. You kind of look at everything. Let's take a look at some of the things that they can maybe fix here or tweak or add as they get ready for the second half run. One of the things you wrote about is incorporating more of an outside run game. We saw a little glimpse of that in the game last time we saw them on the field. And does that mean that you have a bigger package for Tank Bigsby?
Well, I think that both of those things are things that the Eagles should continue to work off of. And I want to be perfectly clear. Whether you're under center, whether you're in shotgun, whether you're running inside, whether you're running outside, whether it's Saquon or Tank, what matters is that you execute. None of these things is a magic wand, okay? But as I talked to some guys after the game, last game, when you do these things and put it on tape, now you give the opponent extra stuff that they have to practice for, and that helps alleviate the predictability part that people were getting into. It's not that the Eagles were too predictable. They were not executing well. But when you add stuff on tape that you make your defense have to prepare for, then you can literally go for any one of those things you showed at any single time and go to it while the defense doesn't exactly know where you might be going with it. So, yeah, I think all of those things are things they can continue to do, should continue to do. None of it has to be foundational, but it's just stuff that you do and can do well.
What about A.J. Brown in his role? How can they, tweak, change, elevate, make him more impactful?
Say who again? I'm sorry.
A.J. Brown, their
A.J.
wide receiver,
Brown.
their talented wide receiver.
Wasn't sure who you were referring to. I think A.J. Brown to be A.J. Brown. You get him the ball. I would like to see I feel like lately his route tree has become like the deep comebacks, the curls, sort of like not as diverse as when he first got to the Eagles. I think they got to get back to manufacturing some touches for him as opposed to letting him come through the flow of the game and get him involved. It will probably make him a little happier, but it's not like you're greasing a squeaky wheel. You're actually doing something good for your offense.
You wrote about, this was before the trade, about finding your best four-man pass rush. What is that best four-man pass rush now?
Yeah, I think right now it's, if it's 3rd and 5 against the Packers and you're jogging out that four-man rush and you don't want to play man, you want to play zone, it's got to be Jalen Phillips on one end. It's got to be, I would say, are we assuming Nolan Smith is healthy?
Yeah, I don't know. Is there any shot he plays Monday night or no?
It's possible. We have to see if he's out of practice this week. So,
he's eligible though, right?
Yeah. Well, no, he's not. He has not been active onto the 53. He's still on. I don't even think they put him in the practice window yet, Mike. I think he's still on IR. So, but either way, the point is their overall best four-man rush will be Nolan Smith and Jalen Phillips on the edges, and then Jomo and Jalen Carter in the middle.
All right. Well, let's see. I thought I saw something about him. Now, they did place Azeez Ojulari on injured reserve, Marcus Epps. Real quick, before we get out of here, would you think that they are done making moves, or do you think they can actually trade some of their own players to try to incorporate some of the picks back?
Well, I would not put anything past Howie at this point. I could see him trying to recoup picks, but I really think you're not trying to subtract here. You got too many guys with injury issues to start like saying, oh, we're deep here, so I can just pawn off this guy and pawn off that guy. So unless somebody's going to blow Howie out the water for Josh Uche. What did I hear Josh say? Did I hear Josh say he wouldn't trade Uche for anything lower than a 6th-round pick or something like that?
It was something like I wouldn't trade him for a 6th-round pick.
I don't know what Josh thinks that Josh Uche's value around the NFL is. I mean, he's had a nice season for the Eagles, but there's not a big demand for, what has he got, 1.5 sacks and a couple of pressures. I
that's
mean,
why I said,
let's be realistic about Josh Uche here.
At this point, you've got Jalen Phillips coming in. You would think Brandon Graham kind of takes any of Uche's maybe, and then Uche, if you just get a 6th-round pick, it's like, hey, you take it. By the way,
I think Josh is basically saying you want to hold on to Uche, unless somebody blows the doors off you for him, which is not going to happen.
Tim McManus wrote this back on September 24th, that the plan for Nolan Smith was to return after the team's November 2nd bye. Now, they have not opened any practice windows, but I guess that was the time frame that I had remember seeing that he could potentially be ready to play.
From what I understood, though, it was an optimistic time frame. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but that was sort of earliest if everything goes well scenario.
Correct.
Which it could. We'll see.
That is where I saw the fact that he could have played in potentially.
Remember,
in this game.
they practice Thursday, by the way, because it's a Monday night game. You will not get an injury report on Wednesday like you normally do.
Gotcha. All right. Well, there's Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast, Philly Voice, and he's got self-scouting things that you can look at. The full article over at phillyvoice.com. We just kind of handpicked a couple of them, but you can read all of his bye-week self-scouting keys to the Eagles' success in the second half at phillyvoice.com. All right, Mosher's back on Wednesday as the Eagles get ready for the Green Bay Packers, who just lost to the Carolina Panthers at home this past Sunday. It was a good week for the Eagles to trade. Both teams in front of them lost, and now they are the number 1 seed in the NFC. Thanks, Moshe. Check your messages next time.
My bad. See ya.
See you, man. All right, Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast joins me here every Monday and Wednesday with Football at 4. Tomorrow, Adam Kaplan is in the house.